Welcome back, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2019 D3 College Championships, coming to you from College Station, Texas. I'm Keith Rayner, joined in the booth by Sam Echeverria for the final game of the D3 season in the women's division, a final between vaunted Bates Coldfront, the #1 overall seed, and the #6 seed Oberlin praying Manti. Oberlin in green with the pull to start. Josie Gillette receives the pull, and Bates is off. Just matchup defense here from Oberlin to start the final, and a near block from Helen Samuel, but tracked down by Liz Casey, who's had a tremendous tournament, one of the breakout stars of the tournament. Gillette lines up a shot, puts it past a twisting defender, and a nice grab there on the other end. Cameron Johnson, I have a feeling we'll be saying a lot of Gillette to Johnson.
Gillette and Johnson will be a combo we're going to check out all of this match. Gillette, if you haven't heard of her, you haven't been paying attention to D3 Women's Ultimate this season. Bates is undefeated at this point. They have been gunning for this title since they lost in the championship last year. This is really their moment to shine, and it's going to take everything Oberlin has to stop them.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about the journey Bates has had to this point, establishing themselves as a favorite. They're the #1 overall seed, undefeated this year, and in many ways unchallenged to this point.
Yeah, they've faced some challenges. They do come out of the very deep New England region, but in general, no one has really gotten within more than a couple points of them. And they have such talent, such clean offense, such defensive power, that it's going to take a lot. But today, there could be a chance. Oberlin has shown themselves very worthy of their finals berth here.
Oberlin, a talented team in their own right. And these teams will actually have to deal with a new wrinkle that I don't think any of them have encountered yet. Both teams have been having to contend with the heat over the past couple of days. But just to give you an update on what's going on here, USAU is using a new system to track the heat safety for players. It is on this turf extremely hot. It has been a humid day. And so we are now in a level 2 state where there's an extra minute between each point. So there'll be 2.5 minutes between each points. We'll also be taking breaks for 4 minutes when a team scores 4 and 12 or reaches soft cap. So a break in each of the halves. So the pace of play may slow down a little bit, and we'll see how that wrinkle impacts these two teams.
Yeah, a lot more time to talk strategy and refuel.
So Oberlin's offense out for the first time. They have a small roster, but do utilize nearly everyone on it. Anna Barron lifting a scuba over the bait zone. Now here's Abby Chang up ahead to Zoe Hecht. Hecht with a blade to an open target. Drops into the hands of Lucia Mason. Now Linnea Fraser. Now into the end zone for Fraser from Hecht. And one clean hold matched by Oberlin. It's now 1-1.
And that was really going through some players that we'll be seeing a lot from this game for Oberlin on the offensive side. Hecht plays in the PUL for Columbus Pride. Great handler, sophomore that we'll be seeing a lot of. Helen Samuel, a lot of defensive as well as offensive firepower providing Oberlin there.
Hecht, just a sophomore with this Oberlin squad out of the Boston community. A highly touted recruit with a lot of experience. And here at the D3 National Championships, her older brother is about to get ready to compete at the D1 College Championships with Brown, the #2 overall seed. So could have 2 Hecks and 2 finals. Who knows? But
there could be a lot of trophies brought home to the Hecht household.
Which I'm sure is full of them already.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And both accomplished throwers. I mean, I'd say that's really the trademark aspect of the game that Zoe has conquered, is her ability to control really powerful throwing mechanics.
Yeah, that's something you'll see out of Oberlin a lot. Chang, a U24 national team member this summer. Hecht, lots of control. They know where to get the disc, where they want it to on the field in these conditions. Right now it's very still, actually. Very, very hot on the turf. Hopefully no melted discs out today.
I heard the observers talking about keeping the discs cool, just so they don't have melted plastic in people's hands. Gillette with the disc, drawing a matchup with Rosie Rudowski. And that one just beyond the reach of Grace Warder. So a turnover and a first break opportunity for the Praying Manti. Now the disc into the hands of Oberlin Cutter, but they continue unable to be completed.
I have to say, though, it was intended for Rudowski. I'm not surprised that they're putting on her on Gillette. She has a big wingspan. She is hand block generator for Oberlin.
Gillette coming under, and now with space for the mark, you can expect to see the deep shot go up. Johnson trying to track it in the sun, but can't quite find it. So another break opportunity for Bates, or for Oberlin, excuse me. Samuel initiates. Little give and go. Vertical stack from Oberlin right now. A travel call, though, will give us a brief pause in play. Deep shot goes up, and this one's hanging and knocked away by Warder. And now exchanging Huck. This one's caught by Johnson, who tracks it down. And they continue into the end zone for Casey. She gets there. Casey on the board. Bates 2-1 lead, all on serve.
Not the cleanest throws. That was definitely harder than I think we would have wanted to see, or rather, as Gillette would have wanted to make it for Johnson and the rest of her cutters. But if it works, it works. Right now it's about scoring those points so they can come off, get some water, and cool down.
Take another look at this one. Johnson trying to track it down and just couldn't quite get there. And then you could see the thrower not pleased with the flight path of that one. Knew coming out of their hands that not probably the execution they were hoping for.
Yeah, we're sitting here in a covered tent, and my hands, I would not want to play Frisbee without gloves right now. Interesting to see which players do elect to utilize gloves to maybe have an easier time holding on to the disc, either for throwing or catching. Personal choice, but I'm not actually seeing too many pairs of gloves out here this afternoon.
You're not, yeah, in the booth. Now, granted, the booth is on turf, but it is uncomfortable. So I cannot fathom, really, what it's like to be unprotected in the heat, having to compete right now.
I know from the last game, I was playing sideline reporter for the men's final. Air Force, one of the men's finalist teams, they had ice out on the turf so they could cool off their cleats. From what I remember of College Ultimate, playing on hot turf like this is nearly unbearable. So it's about just trying to do your best and reduce the stress of the heat wherever you can.
So we see the Oberlin offense getting ready to receive the disc. Abby Chang square in the middle of that line. Had a tremendous semifinal, 3 goals, 4 assists, a block. She's going to be a tough customer for Bates to deal with as she comes under. Up ahead to Hecht, and she's got a target. She's always going to take that shot. Wide open. Linnea Fraser with a second goal.
And I'm not too surprised that they threw Olivia Gomez there on Chang, but wasn't enough to stop that sequence from getting downfield.
So we talked a little bit, Sam, about Bates' journey to this final. Let's turn our attention to Oberlin, a team from Ohio, number 6 overall seed, but have marched their way undefeated to this game.
They've had a very successful tournament. They also had a very successful regular season. Saw them with my own eyes at Midwestern Invite in basically terrible conditions, but it was rainy, cold, muddy, windy. Almost the pure opposite of what we're seeing here, and they're still managing to perform at a very high level. They went and won their pool, surprisingly, and then went through a very high-energy quarters game against Puget Sound, taking down that young squad, and then in the last game, took down St. Olaf. They had been leading quite a bit. St. Olaf had attempted a comeback, but it wasn't enough, and so we're getting the Praying Manti out here for our final.
I believe this is the caps off what will go down as the best season so far in Oberlin history, and we'll see if it's a championship that they get to bring back with them or whether they'll have to settle for a silver medal.
Both teams are looking for the best finish possible. Bates was runner-up last year, falling to a Tulsa Douglas-driven St. Olaf. Bates has really been competitive since Josie Gillette has come on the scene back in her freshman year in 2016 and turned this program into a very competitive, sustaining program. So exciting to see if they can really get that gold that they've been searching for so long. Oberlin, this will be their best finish regardless, and I think they're pretty hungry for a title as well.
Gillette fields the pole, winds up a big backhand fake. Got to respect that if you're the defense. Gets the disc around to Warder. Now Huck going up, and it's Samuel with position, knocking that one away. Anna Helms unable to get the deep completion.
Samuel's a defensive powerhouse. Multiple layout bids last game, just showing up, taking care of business.
And there, a quick turnover exchange between the teams. So
I wonder how
change of possessions there, flurry really.
How bad Gillette is feeling the heat. Looks like she's wearing long sleeves, maybe for sun protection. Not a personal choice I've ever been able to make, but trying to take care of themselves out there in this heat.
Hecht taps in on her own goal line. Nice throw to space for Fraser. Hecht hard up the line. Gets the around break for Samuels, and she tracks it down with a spectacular grab. And now the big three working at the front of the stack. Inside break from Samuels. Shannon Jennings gets it up to Rudofsky. And looks like there's an interaction here at the disc. Not sure if it's a fast count or a foul, but did hear Gillette getting to stall 9.
I think this would be a really interesting combo with Rudofsky and Gillette. Just so well matched. I think they picked that matchup very carefully on the Oberlin side.
And another shot goes up. Gillette has the green light. That's for sure.
Yeah, she can make Oberlin work the entire field with just one put like that.
Check back in. Around break from Hecht up to Chang. Hecht again getting up the line, and that's a dangerous spot as she puts up a wide backhand huck, but nice defensive play. Intercepted there by Sarah King. And Bates gives it right back. Samuel to the end zone. And Fraser gets the goal. That's a break for Oberlin. They're the first to strike here in the final.
And I know Bates had lauded themselves a bit for not being broken at regionals. They haven't had quite that much success here at the elite D3 women's level of nationals, but not where Bates wants to be by any means at this point. That said, they do know how to grind and come back when it's necessary. I know they were down to Williams at one of their regular season tournaments, came back and stormed the score there. So they're going to need to think about what went on that point and how they're going to adjust some off throws direct into the hands there of Jennings. Maybe just take a moment to think and take a deep breath.
They might have to sit down and figure out what they're going to do about Linnea Fraser, because she's got 3 goals, including that break for Oberlin. So off to a tremendous start.
I think you also need an answer for Samuel. Great handler in the backfields, as well as just that defensive powerhouse. You're going to need to put legs against her, somebody with great body positioning. Otherwise, she's going to shut them down and make it really more like a 6-on-6 game in some ways.
Teams coming back out on the line, just taking their time here as everybody's trying to make sure that they're staying safe in these conditions.
We're in the shade and I am sweating, and I can only imagine how much water that they're putting out. The sidelines feature every kind of hydration you can think imaginable. Just trying to keep cool, keep hydrated, keep that energy in the tank for what will be quite a few back and forth points here to come.
So Oberlin's defense back on the field. You can see Coach Libby Lehman dictating to her team what she wants to see on this point. And she's been one of the additions that maybe was unsung up until this point.
Yeah, she's new with the team this season, and it's very interesting to watch what she's done with the team compared to last season. They had lost out, I believe, in pre-quarters, had a different mentality about what kind of lines they threw. Here, they're really putting important matchup combinations on the field together to give them the best chance to hopefully get this break here and widen the gap.
Gillette opens up with a throw it in the middle of the field, and now Helm's able to get one. Bates just attacking that open side. Olivia Gomez with the disc. King trapped on that open sideline and does a nice job to lift it backhand over to the break side. Gomez towards the end zone. Not the intended target, but worth the same amount anyway. Helms comes down with it. Or Warder comes down with it, excuse me. That ties it back at 3-3.
That was a nice leverage of the break side there, getting it over and then being able to find those 2 targets. We'll be seeing a lot more of that. I don't think we've seen Gillette's cheeky little inside put yet, but we will keep our eyes out for that to happen.
So it's a far cry here in College Station from what we saw yesterday when overcast skies pretty much the entire day, on and off rain, intense winds, gusting. So it's interesting to see teams have to navigate 2 completely different sets of conditions in the same weekend.
It's almost like we've had nationals in the Midwest yesterday with absurd gusts. I think we were hitting probably up to 15, maybe even 20 miles an hour at some points during the day. To hear this oppressive southern heat, it's humid. Some teams may not be used to that humidity or even had a chance to train in it so far this season. So kind of hard to predict, and they've just had to do the best that they can to overcome the odds. Both teams here in the same heat and the same oppressive humidity.
Yeah, probably hard to recreate this environment in Lewiston, Maine. I don't know if you can find a sauna that has enough practice space in which to run a drill, but maybe you just go to a team sauna together and like try and focus anyway.
I mean, why not? Give it a shot. Maybe a wind tunnel even would have been helpful for yesterday. But here we go. Bates pulling to Oberlin.
So Bates trailing by a break now. Oberlin's offense back out. Isolation for Chang. Gets her plenty of space as they approach midfield. Chang around to Barron. Fraser comes underneath, but a pick call potentially.
And the throw did come from Barron. She, as we saw in our last game, is a very consistent handler. Few drops, gets it to the targets when she needs to. In some ways, she's not the big three, but she's a player that I would be excited to see as the big three do graduate, step up, and dominate the Oberlin backfield.
And I think she provides a really vital calming presence.
Yes, absolutely.
If you have a shooter like Zoe Hecht in the backfield as she comes under to collect a throw from her teammate, you need that kind of consistent player next to them. And a player like Barron is providing that. She and Hecht are going to work, although Hecht's throw just a little too far ahead of Barron. So a break chance now for Cold Front. Wouldn't mind a Cold Front right about now. Gillette hangs one and hauled out of the sky by Nora Finley. She's on the goal line looking for an option and forces one there. A tough turnover for Bates, just inches away from a goal. Hecht looking for somewhere to go and hand blocked by Gillette, so another red zone opportunity for Bates.
There's that inside break.
Can't connect there. So back-to-back red zone turnovers for Bates. Chang underneath. Gets it just to the middle of the field for Oberlin. Hecht moves the disc forward, and now Chang gets it again. Barron, high release backhand. Chang just continuing to grind out cuts, being defended by Olivia Gomez. It's not an assignment I would want.
No. And Gillette taking away that deep shot.
Not there, though. Gillette not on the mark and can't help as the shot goes up to Chang. Oberlin gets the goal. That one delivered by Lucia Mason. And that'll be the first team to get to 4. So we're going to take a heat timeout here in College Station. So you see, again, the great grab by Finley, but you can see just no one really available for her, so she gets kind of stuck and forces the throw and the red zone turnover. But so during this heat timeout, we're going to go to our sideline reporter, Mike Ball, who's going to tell us about how the teams are dealing with the conditions out here in Texas.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. So it's a team effort out here right now from everybody on the sidelines to deal with this heat. Everybody's on the same team when it comes to their fight against the sun. The Oberlin sideline asked for an extra tent for their players, which USAU provided quickly. Abby Chang ran off immediately after the first point. She went straight to the water cooler and just started drowning her feet in the cooler. I asked her if she was worried about getting blisters from having soaked feet, and she said that it's worth it because right now it feels like we're playing on hot coals. All the parents are waiting for him with hot towels, or with cold towels rather, on the sideline, and it's a collective effort. And another interesting note, there are actually multiple game discs that they're using right now, trying to keep the ones on the sideline in the shade. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this, but they're trying to make sure discs aren't in the sun for too long because it makes them too soft and difficult to play with. So it's all hands on deck right now trying to deal with the heat.
Definitely a team effort here. Anything in particular that Bates is doing for this heat, especially this heat break, maybe now that they're down by 1 in particular?
Yeah, they're immediately, when they come off the field, it's get under the tent, everybody under the tent, making sure they're in the sun as little as possible, and they're waiting until the pole literally goes up to come out from under the tent. The other thing that I'm hearing from them right now is to try and conserve some of their energy on the field. Oberlin's doing a really nice job with some quick handler movement, and the Bates coaches are encouraging their players to switch on those handler slashes rather than try and chase their player all over the field. Save their legs, use their switches to try and conserve some of their energy.
Yeah, Oberlin is going all out. Their limbs are all over as they're getting those strikes and making it happen. Quite the game and quite a lot of work that they're putting in there.
Absolutely. I'll see what else I can figure out for you all on the sideline here, but it's a super fun game so far.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, those handler strikes really are impressing me from Oberlin. I love watching Hecht. When she goes up, she times it. Obviously, the handlers know each other. They know where to hit her, where her defender cannot get, especially in the air with that lift up. She's getting that apex and bringing the disc down, getting into those great positions for those longer shot looks.
And the last thing you want to do is let Hecht get an unmarked tuck off, because often that turns into a score for Oberlin. Not surprised to hear Abby Chang talk about having hot feet. I mean, I think that she often probably, like the fire that burns underneath as fast as she's running around, I can only imagine it's exacerbated by these conditions.
Yeah, very, very speedy player all over the field.
Next level thought, what if you had 2 pairs of cleats and one is in a cooler, and between points you switch to your cool cleats and then cool your other cleats off?
Are we in 3019, Keith? This is the 2019 championships here, but that would be phenomenal. We should give that if any teams have suggestion boxes. But yeah, 2019 here, we are at a 4-3 score. Oberlin up. I'm not sure I would have anticipated Oberlin being up at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know necessarily that the conditions here favor them. I can't tell whether it's so hot that the breaks are not really going to help a team that maybe isn't as deep, or if the breaks are actually going to help the team that maybe wants to concentrate on a couple of key contributors more. I'm really not sure, so it's kind of something we're going to have to pay attention to.
I think it's a hard balance. If you do a quick dish and hook, then you've got the score, you get to come off sooner and rest. But if you're not patient, then you have to go play defense really quickly, and it's that defense that is going to grind down teams to really their bare essence at this point.
I mean, honestly, what the idea is, how many points for Josie Gillette can you get her off? How many points in this game is she going to have to play? And how many of them will have to be consecutive? If you look at Oberlin, you're probably going to see Samuel, Hecht, and Chang rotate around, and 2 out of 3 probably on, maybe a couple points where they'll bring all 3 on, but they pretty infrequently have them play together. They kind of have an offensive and defensive set. But
yeah, they're able to rely on Barron, on a few of those other players out there, rotating who's in and out. Bates does have great I think they have a wider downfield than they do backfield, and that really will hurt them potentially if Josie's not able to get that rest and that cooling down that she'll need.
Maybe that helps them on defense, where they can use these athletes they have to try and run down Chang and Hecht and the other cutters on this Oberlin team. But
I'm interested to see if they maintain matchups. I know Bates last year, they tried to throw the kitchen sink at Tulsa Douglas, throwing Gillette on later in. Will they do something similar here on Hecht and Chang and Samuel? We'll find out.
Gillette's gotten the better of Hecht once with a hand block, and we'll see if they go back to that. She's on the field for this point after the heat break. But not involved yet is Warder with a diving catch. She gets the around break off to Becca Havium, one of the other captains of the team. Gillette now in the middle. High release forehand, off target, intercepted again by Samuel. It's just a hawk on defense. Hecht with Gillette on her. Finds Chang underneath on the middle. And this Oberlin stack is fairly deep, but that gives them room for these really athletic handlers to attack in the short space.
Yeah, they're having a lot of opportunities here, able to use the front of the stack as well, not necessarily just cuts coming out of the back. It is interesting that we've seen Person so far. It's completely still, so I see it from that perspective.
And Oberlin breaks again. Hecht to Chang. A great effort there from Bates' defense. Liz Casey leaving her feet, but unable to get the block. And an unfettered throw for the goal. And color me shocked, but Oberlin with 2 breaks up on Bates right now.
This is definitely one of the harder matches that Bates has seen this year. At this point, if Oberlin can really step on the gas, keep getting breaks, and just riding this momentum of their sideline, of feeling good and up, and extend that lead, then they could put Bates away, which is such a, I never thought I would be saying that in this final.
Bates has been such a powerhouse this season. I mean, you mentioned the one time we've really seen them put behind the 8 ball against Williams back early in the year, and a tournament called No Sleep Till Brooklyn. They went down 3-0 in the final and proceeded to concede just 1 more goal, I think, on the way to an emphatic victory.
I'm expecting it was a lot colder at No Sleep Till Brooklyn back in February.
Was.
And Bates there on the line, holding hands as they pull together and recenter themselves for this next look here. We'll see if they're able to string together a few more successful runs and passes. Really, it's, I think, patience and being ready to retain and value disc possession here instead of being willing to huck it and then have to grind on defense. They're just looking at a lower tempo, lower energy, and gas level than their Oberlin counterparts. And the disc finds its way to Gillette again, and she lets it rip. And it's defended. Gillette's deep game is not on today to the level that we've seen or would expect out of this Bates team.
Well, I think that Oberlin's well aware of what's coming. You know, it doesn't take watching a lot of film to know that Judge Gillette is an incredibly powerful thrower, but unable to really connect with her targets right now. And Oberlin has been pretty effective on defense once they get the disc.
For sure. Oberlin has been in the right positions. They've got good body positioning. And in some ways, it feels like they're baiting Gillette into poorly chosen throws.
Now, if they can find a way to kind of turn this into a field position battle where they can take these shots and then generate short fields, which we've seen on occasion, then maybe it won't hurt them so much. But if they can't get the disc back, Oberlin's going to be able to run away with this, although there we see a mistake, giving them an opportunity. Julie Stoner with the drop.
That short field we were just talking about.
And quickly converted. Sarah King comes down with the score.
That's got to be a sigh of relief for Bates, for their sideline and their fans. That was a really important score, I think, to not find themselves too far down, to be able to now build momentum off that, put together a D-line that is going to go out, and ideally for them, they'll want to crush Oberlin, shut down those major handlers, and just contain them. They need to contain them.
Yeah, and I think that we're starting to see them try and make some adjustments on the mark. Mike talked about them trying to switch through some of these cuts to save themselves some legs and also get better positioning. You can try and shift the mark around to see if you can cut off those strikes a little bit. Try different zones. We saw them use a zone earlier in the game, so we'll see what Cold Front has in their bag of tricks.
I'm very curious on the zone front. Just for folks who have been following along, North Park, the 14th seed, brought 12 players to the tournament, and they made it to the semifinals where they were defeated by Bates. They ran zone almost a majority, if not all, of the entire weekend as one way to maintain legs, as well as that's something that they've really developed and honed in on. So will we see something similar from Bates here, or are they going to stick to matchup defense to contain the praying Manti threat?
Hecht in particular is adept at throwing over the top of the zone, but maybe you kind of have to put her in a position to make those difficult throws and see if you can get some mistakes out of that execution, where it's just a lower percentage throw in general, even if it's a risky proposition.
It's always those risky overhead resets or trying to push it over the first line and layer of the zone to get it to your middles. Hecht is very adept at that. We'll see if it doesn't look like they're going to force her into a zone situation just yet.
Mason up ahead to Fraser, and Fraser is going to put it ahead to Chang. Chang tracks it down, a beautifully thrown huck from Fraser, who's shown that she can catch it, she can throw it. Gets her first assist, makes it 6-4.
Fraser there celebrating with Chang as they bring that in. All of Oberlin, they're a very tight team at a very, very small school. 7,500 club out here representing, and just incredible in that connection and that practice.
So Oberlin trading off now. Fraser scoring the first 3 goals, Chang scoring the second 3 goals. So who's next? Just pick somebody. 3 goals for you.
You know what? I think Jennings is a likely target. Has some really good momentum in getting the disc through those continues and throughout a variety of those possessions. I also wouldn't be surprised if they get Stoner involved a little bit more. Haven't seen too much, but I think those are targets that are likely to be found here. Maybe in the end zone, shortly enough.
And Bates now need some help to get back into this one. Trailing by a couple breaks. First half already, part way gone. I mean, we are closer to the end of the first half than we are to the start of it, that's for sure.
We are getting very close to the end of the women's division season here. The last game for both of these teams, and I know that they've worked incredibly hard to get here. Having this be the culmination of your season is an incredible feeling. I know they want to walk away going home with the golds. Especially Bates. I know it's hard with the #1 seed on your back, but this was a very well-deserved seeding after the success of this season. But seeding is one thing, the outcome of the game is another.
Misfielding the pull, however, is going to put Bates in a tough spot now as they're all the way back by their own goal line. Helms with a nice throw to get them away from it. Now here's Gillette, unmarked, and she puts up a beautiful shot for Johnson, and Bates hopes they can all be that easy.
Yeah, they were able to overcome that misfielding of the pool, which is important. They looked a lot more centered and calm, and Gillette, eyes down the field, even though a majority of the team, I think, was at or behind her during that, and just rips it, lets it go, and hits her target right where intended.
Now Bates will send their defense back out. They've only been able to generate 2 turnovers from Oberlin on their D points in the first half, so they'll need some more of that.
That is not typical of the Bates team. They're going to need to improve body positioning, really grind and find what legs they have left. See some more folks leave their feet as they do make those bids. Going to have to force it out of Oberlin. They're not going to give many turnovers for free.
Yeah, not much in this life is free, Sam. And that includes flights for reporters, streaming equipment, housing at tournaments. Unfortunately, it all costs money, and Ultiworld could use your help in covering the costs that it takes to take care of covering the college and club divisions and youth and international play. Done a lot of that throughout the year and got a lot more planned. Got a 10-person crew here in College Station to cover the D3 championships and more planned for next weekend's D1 college championships. If you're enjoying our coverage or want to see it continue to grow, please consider donating or subscribing, even better. In our subscription drive, you can head over to ultiworld.com/subscribe to find out the details. Help support media and journalism in Ultimate. So you can see plays like that one, a great block by Warder in the cup. Exactly what the Bates doctor ordered.
Cold front with that zone. Gillette with that hook. Oh, Chang.
Chang with a nice block to protect the end zone.
Chang's ability to read the disc is, I think, one of the top in the division. She gets to where she needs to be, and then she reads it and defends it. Very few folks are able to sky or defeat her in the air when it comes to the end zone.
So Hecht brings it to the front of the line, facing the cold front zone. All the way around. Trapped on that sideline, trying to find a way off. Looking over the top, but instead the little dish to Hecht. And she'll throw that blade she likes over the top, but I think Gillette read it there. Her presence might have helped dislodge the disc from the hands of Mason. So now Bates working on a chance to break. Helms trying to look upfield, but intercepted by Chang.
Looking to the usual suspects of Barron and Hecht in the backfield.
Bates now out of this zone, transitioning to match defense. Hecht tries to deliver the around. She's going to call a foul, though, on Johnson, who was already taking off for the end zone. Tough to tell here.
Really hard with that replay. We've got defenders in the way.
I mean, I think at first blush, I thought it looked like a block, but
Okay. Stall's coming in on 5. Stall coming in on 5.
it looks like the players are just going to contest without going to the observer. Hecht up the line, draws 4 Bates defenders, and they still can't get the block, and she launches a huck to Fraser. Fraser looking for the reset in the red zone, and Hecht dances around until she gets it back. Oberlin, 7-5 lead.
Bates had really clamped down there tight in the end zone, but Hecht just wiggles her way out and makes it happen.
Just so effective at finding room to get up the line. That has been just a sore for the Bates defense. Timeout on the field as the players look to get cool. You see Fraser going up for that grab after Hecht collapsed the defense really around her. And then just so difficult to defend in a small space.
It does seem like Bates is maybe sleeping on Fraser as a target to really be putting some specific matchups on. We'll see if they adjust and start tightening down.
So as the teams take a timeout, we're going to take a quick timeout of our own to give you a word from our sponsors. And we are back here for Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2019 D3 College Championships, presented in part by VC as well as USA Ultimate. Ultiworld.com/live, your place for live coverage of both the D3 and D1 College Championships. You can also find live streaming action on USA Ultimate's YouTube channel. So
And I
be
have to
sure to
give-
tune in.
Yeah, big round of applause to USAU with everything that they've done for players out here in the heat. Throughout the entire tournament, they've supplied tents for every team on the sidelines, cooling fans for teams, cool down rags that you might see on screen. They're typically bright green or dark blue in USAU colors. Water, lovely cold water on this field. And of course, taking care of the heat index and making sure that players are getting the rest to take care of themselves and hydrate.
Cold water even provided to tired commentators as well.
Yes, fresh delivery.
Oof. It is hot over here. I mean, if you're sitting at home, I hope you're in some comfortable air conditioning, not sweating uncontrollably.
Yeah, if we put a Klondike bar or some ice cream out here, it would be a puddle very, very quickly.
I mean, it would be in me very quickly, but if it were to escape my grasp, yes, it would be a puddle. So, I mean, someone brought us a bag of chocolates that almost instantaneously turned into goo.
Yeah, poor chocolates. But we're keeping hydrated and sustained. So are the teams here as they get ready to come out of this timeout. Also, lots of fans, parents, siblings, general supporters. Neither program has their corresponding men's division team here, but a ton of folks have come out to support their teams and see them in this final. As the second finals is also great and exciting, as we've got all kinds of women's teams, men's teams. Consolation games are largely complete, if not all done. So really a showcase here for the division and the top play.
And after this final, the Donovan Awards will be presented, so teams also waiting to see who will be the winners. Gillette gets things started. Now here's Warder just completely unmarked. Bid to save possession there from Helms. Big gainer for Gillette. Now trying to maybe get more active upfield, and her throw just too low for Warder. It has not been the best game for the Bates Star.
Yeah, not performing at the level we normally do with finding her targets, putting it at the right height. The number of videos I've seen in film of hitting them perfectly at chest height, we're not getting that today. It could be slippery disc, it could be the heat, it could be all of the above.
Hecht around to Rudovsky. Now to Cheng in the middle of the field, who's just so reliably available underneath. Now a chance to Huck, but really deep cut. Not sure if there's a call on the play as the disc heads out of bounds and lands on a tent.
More fans keeping cool.
Some literal fans also on the sidelines.
Yes, quite a few of those.
So I'm guessing based on what I'm seeing here that there's a foul call.
I would expect so with Mason's throw going so wildly out of bounds like that.
There is a foul call. I believe it went to the observer and was upheld, so this comes in without a stall count. Great cut there by Rudovsky to get up the line. Hecht gets past Gillette. Underneath for Cheng. Oberlin with a score here would take a 3-goal lead into the halftime break. Samuel around. Oberlin into the red zone. Fraser back to Samuel. Hecht in the middle. Inside break and now into the end zone, but blocked. What a timely defensive play there by Grace Warder. And Josie's going to make sure that they have the full length to work if they're coming back this way.
They desperately needed that block, and that was exactly at the right time that they needed. The cheer that went up from the Bates sideline as they are in it. Now back on defense.
Samuel able to get to the break side. Continues to Rudovsky. Fraser looking to reset. Up line for Samuel. Gillette in the area. Samuel tries to save it, but can't quite come up with it.
And they're giving her line.
Stoppage, however, as Samuel takes an injury after that layout.
That was a rough landing, sliding on this turf. I've heard about turf burn affecting some players particularly badly. Although in general, I will say these are beautiful turf fields. Some of the nicer ones that I've gotten to hang out on.
Fraser just not able to get the snap on that disc required to keep it flat, so it tails away from Samuel and kind of wobbly, makes it way harder to catch. But Gillette getting ready to check in. Stoner subbing in for Samuel, and she'll be on the mark. Gillette underneath, and now here's Warder on the sideline. Again unmarked. I don't know how she's so frequently just completely evading the defense. High release backhand. Wide open King, and now into the hands of Gillette, and she tries a crossfield hammer that dies before it finds a receiver.
That just felt like I think they're all extremely tired and hot. That just feels like a decision that was an attempt to just punch it in, but not successful at this point.
Chang underneath. Oberlin just attacking that open sideline right now. Finally get a swing. And in a vertical stack, you love to see a team work from sideline to sideline, make you defend the whole field. Hecht getting to the break side. Now shot to the end zone. Caught by Chang. What a play by Abby Chang, going up to get that throw from Stoner. And Oberlin takes control in this first half
and
with a
takes
break.
Half. We are now at half. I don't think Bates would have expected themselves in this position for their final game of the season. That was just dominant. Again, like you mentioned, Keith, the vert stack, Oberlin is really utilizing it, getting all the space across the field and making it happen.
Heads up down below.
And teams are quickly going back to the shade, getting to cool off and really re-energize as they plan for the second half of the national title.
Really a shocking development here, but Oberlin all over this Bates team. And you said that Bates didn't expect to be in this position. We didn't expect Bates to be in this position.
Bates is the heavy favorite right now. And Oberlin is giving them the fight and going to make them hold everything that they can to stay on top.
Well, let's go to Mike Ball, who's with Bates coach Mo Baker, to talk about that first half and what to expect in the second.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Like you said, I'm here with Coach Mo Baker of Bates. Mo, looked like in that first half, your deep game might not have been connecting in the same way that it has been the rest of the weekend. What do you think changed in this game that's breaking up some of those deep shots for you all?
Yeah, I think at this point everyone knows that that's our game, and they are starting to catch on a little bit. But we have the unders just as much as we have the deep shots, so we just got to continue to use those unders.
It looked like that they were pretty quick, especially in the handler space, and that some of your defenders were struggling to keep up a little bit. Is that what you were seeing as well, or where did you think they were getting the advantage over you all in the field?
Sure, I think we are trying to contest as many of the in-cuts as possible, and maybe we're biting a little bit too hard. So I think if we stay a little bit more honest, we'll be able to set the mark and cut off anything upfield.
Great. Last question. What is going to be your message to the team at the half here? What's going to be the point that you make to them to try and get them fired up for this second half?
Yeah, I think we just have to remind ourselves to play within each other, play as a team, and try to ignore the heat and push as much as possible, keep grinding, and play our game, and we'll do just fine.
Well, I know we both want to get into some shade, so I won't keep you any longer. Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
So you hear from Mo Baker, the team looking to try and ignore the heat. A difficult task, but they're going to need a strong second half to make an impressive comeback against what has been a strong Oberlin team. Teams are going to get some shade. We're going to get some cold water in us. I suggest you do the same. We'll be back in a little less than 10 minutes for the second half and the last half of the D3 college season.
There's the big industrial sprayer in the sink in the kitchen. That's why I sort of took a half shower with it. That's definitely I have the microphone, so it'll be a little back in there. Just take it off. It's getting hot in here, so take off your microphone. Can you hear this? I like it. Feel the wind in your mouth. Feels like a little too good. It's like titling. 5 minutes! 5 minutes! Pretty much. So 70. I guess we have 70. So an hour and 3:15. Yeah. Oh boy! Oh boy! You're making me wet, Sam. Can you make Linda wet too, Cabana boy? Yeah, Cabana boy. Making the women wet. I'm making the women and chunk wet. Except this is lovely and it's not a punishment. Cabana boys are not here to punish us. Well, it depends on what you're... Here, I just surround a black hat on crack and, many fortresses. My different stories. I am there to do things to provide you with stories to tell me later. Oh, thanks. You know, I'm not just happy to see you, Tate. Thank you for not killing me. I would have jumped off. I would have suicidally left off.
Welcome back to Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2019 D3 College Championships. From the center of the sun, I mean College Station, Texas.
Same thing at this point.
Feels like it, but I'm Keith Rander, joined by Sam Echeverria, here for the conclusion of the D3 season, the women's final. Oberlin with an 8-5 lead on Bates, getting ready to receive out of the half. How do they have the number one team on the ropes, Sam?
Honestly, in some ways, I think it's been more of Bates struggling in this heat, making poor decisions. Oberlin's also done a nice job matching up intelligently and converting when it matters the most.
Yeah, but I have to applaud Oberlin's efficiency so far. It's not as if they're scoring in one possession every point, but they're not making a lot of bad decisions.
Few turns, and they're generating turns on Bates' deep looks.
And Zoe Hecht continues to just destroy the defense with her ability to get up the line, and they're just laser guides a forehand into the hands of Abby Chang.
The Oberlin deep game is on point right now. Cannot say the same for the Bates deep game. It's absolutely night and day difference between these two teams and what puts look like when they get to that end zone and who's coming down with them.
You know, that is Zoe Hecht's fourth assist. She also has a goal, and I still think that understates the impact that she's had on this game.
She's a dominant handler, absolutely, in this game. She, honestly, those strikes cuts from her, when you see her going strike, you should fear what comes next. She's making it work across the field. In general, with that vert stack, there is a lot of handler action. It's not just relying on those downfield cuts. The handlers know how to do what they do well, and the cutters are getting the disc when it makes sense to get downfield.
Yeah, and while it's easy to focus on the statistical contributions of Abby Chang and Zoe Hecht, I mean, they have gotten, it was really a team effort in the first half. You know, Lucia Mason, nice half for her. Julie Stoner was contributing. Anna Barron had a nice half. Obviously, Linnea Frazier, who tallied 3 goals and an assist and 2 assists in the first half. I mean, it has not been just the most well-known names on this Oberlin team.
It's a distribution, absolutely. They've done quite the nice job on that. Whereas we see Bates relying really on players like Gillette, Warder, Johnson, and they're being ground down to the ends of their ropes, I think, at this point.
Yeah, they're going to need to hit back soon because I don't know how much left in the tank this Cold Front team has.
Overland is 6 points away from a national title. 6 points. That's not very much at all as we wrap up the season here. And honestly, it would be incredible to see Overland do it, the 6th seed. make it happen.
Oberlin, a very tight-knit program. But they're still going to have to finish off this Bates team. And Josie Gillette with an inside forehand to Warder, who goes up and gets it. And perhaps the best offensive point we've seen from this Bates team on their first 0 point of the second half.
Yeah, that was right on target, hitting Warder where it needed to be, whereas we've seen other throws from Gillette go too low, too much angle. That looks more like the Gillette we know and expect to see out here. So it seems like she's playing more within herself that last point, and really nice job by Warder running that down, making that happen.
So Bates on the board here in the second half, makes it 9-6. And if you're just joining us, to give you an update, we are in level 2 of our heat advisory here in College Station. And in order to protect the players, we're taking an extra 60 seconds in this half per point. So it'll be 2.5 minutes between points.
It's a little bit longer than maybe Ultimate Spectators are used to. And here we've got Coach Lehman out with her Oberlin line. Down for Oberlin. For Bates, we've got their coaches out as well, giving strategy to the team as they shape up here, looking to really get this desperately needed break to stay in this game and come back for this title.
Oberlin knows that if they can string together the necessary holds, they could go home with the gold.
Yeah, it's nice to have this buffer, really, and be able to know that you just need to play solid offense. Defense line, if they get a break, all the better, but O-line, play their game, play within themselves, keep it happening.
So an offsides call on this D point. Sarah Delaney with the pull, and see if Delaney takes a second crack at it.
Not too many offsides this weekend that I've seen throughout the tournament. It is interesting just because D3 teams don't always get that play with observers during the regular season. They have to go to the major tournaments that make it happen. I know there's been a big push. Mike hosted FCS tournament with an observer clinic. Always a push to get more observers out there to bring them to the game. I like playing with them for the pace personally, and having them on the field. Also great for that timekeeping, making sure the game stays underway.
So Hecht bringing the disc in for Oberlin's offense. Chang continues to create room underneath. But that throw beyond the reach of her intended target, despite the great effort from Fraser to try and get there. So a break opportunity for Bates.
Fraser's leaving it all out on this field. Wants it so badly. Such an attempt to keep that disc live.
The possession is brief there for Bates, so Oberlin's offense will get it back. Barron looking for the reset. Nicely defended, but just at the last moment, Hecht able to create a little room. Mason looking deep for Chang. But Chang finds the end zone once again. Extends the lead back to 4, 10-6. Chang has scored the last 3 for this Oberlin squad.
And they're playing, it looks, and sometimes it's a vertical stack, sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes it's just a bit more of a mess. But Oberlin really does a great job looking for their players, open hands, open shots, taking patience until they find something that they really want there, and they make it happen. And Chang knows how to run that field and make it work.
Yeah, Oberlin does a great job with their timing together. Their cuts are timed so that the throwers don't have to wait. And when the throwers do wait, it's to give their cutters a chance to make a move. and set something up. You see teams that get off that rhythm where you're looking for someone to make a move, and maybe they make their move, and by then you've already turned and looked at your reset, and so they're open, but you're not looking at them anymore. You don't see that a lot with this Oberlin team. When someone gets open, there's a thrower ready to give them the disc.
Oberlin timing is incredible. I think the Bates is still, they are not in their rhythm, not in their usual just motions and sets together. And I think it's making it harder for that decision making, and we're seeing some maybe poorer choices coming out from the Bates offense as a result.
So soft cap going on, so time of the essence for these two teams. Typically, these finals are not hard capped, but with the conditions out here, there is a hard cap on this game. So we see the Bates offense back out, led by Josie Gillette. And you got to imagine if they come back, it'll be behind some great play from their veteran leader.
Absolutely, and as well as stepping up by Johnson, Warder. All of those players will need to really make some magic out here on the field if they want to come back when Oberlin is only 2 points away from winning a title.
Absolutely. Bates did not get here on the play of Gillette alone, and they certainly are not going to be able to reclaim the advantage in this one without the contributions of many of their top players. Helms up ahead to Gillette. Stall count climbing, and she'll throw one out to space and mishandled by King under pressure from Samuel. So another red zone turnover for Bates.
Samuel, defensive talent. Honestly, I think probably one of the top defenders in the division, being ready to go in the right place and making the effort.
Now Samuel bringing the disc in for the D-line. Hoping to bring Oberlin within one goal of a national title. Hecht into power position. She and Samuels working together now. That vertical stack for Oberlin, still doing a great job attacking the break side. We're hearing now the soft cap went on while this point was in progress, I believe. So after this point, that cap will be applied. But a turnover here for Oberlin, and Bates with another shot at this hold. But they can't convert. Mish McCall with the block.
Back in Hecht's hands. Surprise, surprise.
And another stoppage on the field. Hecht checks back in. Samuels gets up the line. Shayna Jennings puts one up for the end zone. Hecht catches it on the goal line. And I think Hecht making the tee for timeout here. Sensing a chance to punch in what could be a clinching score.
That inside from Jennings, just beautiful. Exactly the position they want to be in here, knocking at the door.
So Oberlin bringing it in to strategize now. Expect you can see them looking to continue to attack up the line, which has been so effective for them. Sam, what strategies do you use to try and combat effective upline cutting from your opponents?
It's definitely shading over, I think, being aware that they love that strike and denying them that in order to open something else up. It's all about giving them something that you're willing to take away. Either you need to put legs on it or you need to put positioning on it and then take away the other option with the opposite. So honestly, these strike cuts are really impressive, especially they know each other, how to get it into the hands of Hecht. When she gets up and she reaches for it, it just puts the disc out of range of defenders not practically 9 times out of 10.
And it isn't just the strike cuts, it's the combination of the pick your poison between taking away that open side strike or taking away that break side reset. They've done such a great job getting the disc to the break side after they get the reset off that in order to, if you commit resources to that, you're giving up more on the open side. And if you commit your resources to the open side, they're able to get the disc to the break side past the mark.
Interesting here with Gillette on Rudovsky for this defense. She's setting the stack for Oberlin.
I imagine that she's looking to help poach on an upline throw, but not able to get there in time as the speedy Samuel rockets up the line to get the goal, a break for Oberlin that makes the lead 11-6.
So incredibly quick. It's hard to defend against that speed. And if you don't have the body position, you're not going to win that race.
So with soft cap on, no soft cap on, so our soft cap is on, so I believe we're going to take a safety break here for the heat. Give teams a chance to get some cold towels and some water in them, a little bit of shade. And during that timeout, we're going to go to our sideline reporter, Mike Ball, to get some more information on what's going on the field.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. It's the momentum of the game is definitely reflected on the sideline. The Oberlin sideline is up and active and cheering, and Bates tried just a few minutes ago to really get things going, and a few members of their sideline tried to pick things up, but it died out pretty quickly, and it feels like they know that the result of this game is inevitable. That's the vibe that's coming from the Bates sideline right now.
It doesn't seem like they've given up, though. Josie is point after point. Is that grinding her down? Are they concerned about her?
Yeah, you know, they've talked about, and I've overheard their coach trying to talk about getting her off the disc as much as possible and trying to move her to various spots of the field so that she's not wearing herself out, at least not in the same fashion. But it seems like the disc inevitably finds her, and she seems to be falling back into the every other space a little bit too often, and I think that is starting to get to her.
It's hard to break when you've built a season of habit that way. What do things look like over on the green sideline for the Oberlin team? It's funny because they're not as confident as you would think they should be. They seem almost incredulous about some of their goals. It's funny, Zoe came off after one of the goals she threw, and she said one of her teammates, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but everything seems to be working. There seems to be just this feeling of incredulity from that sideline. It's just everything clicking right now and coming together in the moment when it matters most. This is honestly a dream, being up 11-6 in the final. It probably doesn't feel real just yet.
Yeah, I hope they don't choose to try and ride out the time cap because it seems like that could be a possibility with the breaks between points and already being in soft cap and everything. But the way that they're feeling and the way that they're carrying themselves, I expect them to try and finish this thing out.
Thanks a lot, Mike, for the insight from the sidelines. You can see that kind of energy where things are just all working right now for Oberlin. They seem like they're in sync, and I'd be surprised if they go away from just kind of the rhythm that they're in right now.
Don't fix what's not broken, rather. I have a way of mangling sayings, so that's my one for the stream.
Well, I think that they're just in the zone. I mean, this is what like you said, it's a dream. You love to get to the final day of competition, the most important games, and play your best. And I think they have to feel like something that we rarely see, a team is really putting on their best performance when it was most needed.
This is absolutely peak performance at the right time. And Bates just hasn't been able to put a wrench in it at all. And they're not playing at their top on offense. Otherwise, I would hope to see a back and forth game, but that's not what we're seeing here.
So an 11-6 lead for this Oberlin club. Bates, maybe our second straight finalists to drop back-to-back finals. The Air Force men completing the ignominious honor in the previous round. I'm sure it feels poor, but when you look back at it, being a two-time finalist in consecutive years is a pretty impressive feat.
That's really impressive. It's about building the program, and I know Gillette, she's been instrumental in bringing up younger players. Not too many folks who end up at Bates have ultimate playing experience, and it's really having the patience and support to bring up those players, have them fall in love with the game, and then teach them what it needs to be to rise to this elite competitive level. And here we have them lined up, holding hands, or rather ready as they line up for another point. Oberlin in spitting distance, striking distance. A couple of goals to Chang or Frazier.
Game to 13 now, so just 2 goals away for Oberlin. Going to need an impressive run from Bates to change the fate here. And Kayla Seeger readies the pole for the Praying Manti. So the pole is up, and we are back underway here in College Station. And we can see the adjustment from Bates. Gillette now operating from downfield.
Looking for that power position.
And able to collect and under. Not a lot of options for Gillette, so she puts a forehand towards the end zone, hopefully, but it's out of bounds and a lot of contact on the attempted catch.
Players shake it off. It looks like Gillette was really attempting to holster it and find something with a little more opportunity to spread out the field, but it just was not in the cards, and she needed to punt.
This kid's coming back, though, so maybe a stall call at the disc.
And that does seem it is what has happened. It's going to be Oberlin's disc.
A deflating turn of events for Bates' hopes for a comeback as Samuel checks in for Oberlin. Emily Peterson send a disc over to Catherine Carson, and now up the line. Oberlin looking to reset the disc, but Samuel falls down trying to make the catch. Now Gillette unmarked, and that's a recipe for a backhand huck.
Those are dangerous words. Gillette unmarked.
That's a goal for Bates.
That's really injecting energy into their sideline. They're rushing the field. Her team is hype and ready, and they need to really convert this into a defensive break coming up here, but for the moment they're celebrating that incredible huck.
Take another look at this rip from Gillette. Becca Havian on the other end of that one. Josie Gillette making an impact here. Of course, one of the players to watch in the division.
Yeah, Josie has been quite a player in the division. She's been captaining Bates since her second semester as a freshman. She also captained the U16, or rather the U19 team in 2016. Fun fact about her, she helped start a community garden at Bates College. She's an environmental studies major who's graduating this year with the class of 2019.
An impressive leader, certainly known for her skill on the field, but it's hard to see a player's dedication to their team off the field, but you can see from the quality of teams that she has captained that leadership is perhaps her biggest asset.
And a Donovan nominee from Bates as well. Her team rewarding her. A finalist even. Her team rewarding her with that for her contributions and really building up the program to what it is today, which they made their first appearance for freshman year in 2016 and really just have set their sights at the top levels without sacrificing a supporting, nurturing environment.
And even after she graduates, I don't think Bates will exactly be the favorite to win a national title without her, but I don't think that this program's going to fade into obscurity. Even in a highly competitive New England region, I think we're going to continue to see Cold Front be one of the stronger teams in the division.
She'll be leaving them in good shape for sure.
Hecht gets ready to bring it in after the out-of-bounds pull with Gillette on the mark. And Fraser with a nice grab. And now looking for the continued shot to the end zone. Will it stay in bounds? A great effort to toe it in, but beyond the boundary lines. So another chance for Bates.
Chang has very good awareness of the line and how to work that, but sometimes it's just not in the cards. It's just a little bit out of reach.
That high throw to Gillette knocked away by Hecht. And then into the end zone for Fraser. And looking around, I can't decide if Bates is just communicating with each other. It looks like that's it. It is a goal. So that'll make it 12-7.
I really want to call out and commend Fraser for such a diverse talent here. Getting those unders and cutting, able to read deep, making the right shapes in the end zone to get open and get those discs. I think one of the players that I haven't been aware of as much, and definitely a breakout player in my eyes for covering the division.
Look at Hecht with the fall down forehand, one of my favorite throws, signature of my college days. Love to see it still around. And hits Fraser, who has really had just an exceptional final. I mean, if you were going to award a finals MVP, you might give it to Linnea Fraser.
Absolutely. And really, this engine of Oberlin is just chugging along. They're now 1 point away from a national championship. Their D-line is going to be raring and ready to go. Bates seems a little subdued on the other side at this point. I think they can just attempt to play within themselves, play their game their way, and try to keep it alive, at least one more point, to play together for a little bit longer. That's really the thing about being at nationals. This is your last chance to play with this 2019 Bates or this 2019 Oberlin team, and that's an incredibly special feeling that I think everybody is feeling now, or if not, they'll feel it 30 minutes after this game ends and the season is done and in the books.
I mean, I will tell you, I am adamantly against the cliche ultimate 1 point at a time mantra. But
you're not a 0-0 game to 1 guy?
I am not at all. But I love game to 3, totally different. But Bates, I mean, that's kind of the attitude you have to take. You have to go 1 point at a time. Just focus on the one in front of you.
And they have to score this point to keep it alive, so it's really
a lot of new faces, though, on the line for this Bates team. They're going to ask some of the other players to step up and get it done here in the final. And a great look to the end zone, and they nearly complete it. Bounces off the hands of Riley Dwight, one of the freshmen on this team.
That was really great positioning and being there, ready to defend. This is Oberlin's moment. They're back in that vert stack, looking to do their motions.
Fraser and Chang downfield, and they look to connect right away. Fraser with the backhand to Chang, who tries to bring it in. And again, Oberlin's playing a lot right around the sideline and trying to make plays, but I think there may be a foul call back on the throw by Fraser.
Fraser also has got that shot. Oberlin, their deep game, it's been great all of today when they've needed it the most, and it's been so exciting to watch.
So wait for it. The field is still setting. It'll be coming in on 1.
That's something Bates has struggled with. They often just check the disc in right away.
And you got a little bit of the observer team there. Samuel attempting to keep it up, but it's just not enough.
But a quick throwaway from Bates gives it right back.
I think it just slipped out of her hand on that one, to be honest.
Samuel checks it in. Chang comes chugging under. Chang puts up a forehand to space. Cutter in chase. Brought in. Seeger now looking for somewhere to go with it. Chang up the line. National championship in her hands. Fitting that Abby Chang catches the title-winning score for Oberlin in what was an incredible performance in this final by both her and her teammates.
This is the best play I've seen out of Oberlin all day. Incredible match. They just were clicking. They played their game their way, and they made it happen. And now it's a national title to the school out of Ohio.
And you can see the emotions pouring out of this Oberlin team as they had to line up and high-five a Bates squad that was so impressive all year. And Oberlin came out and took control of this game from the beginning.
Bates really had no ways to stop the key pieces. And there's so many key different role players on Oberlin that just know what they're doing and know what they need to be successful.
A 13-7 win for the 6th-seeded Oberlin Prey, Manti. Abby Chang is having trouble standing up because she's heaving with tears. Tears of joy, fortunately.
So many tears of joy over there on the field. This has been, honestly, for some players, this will be a highlight of their ultimate career. Some players I know will be going on to high-level elite club teams. They'll be going on to the U24 team in Chang's case, but that doesn't make this any less special or important in their college career.
7 goals in this game for Abby Chang, tying Bates by herself.
That's phenomenal.
One of the 2 active D3 players headed to the U24 championships from the women's division.
Yep, she'll be joined by Renata Pepe from Bard College. I believe they're both playing on the women's team this summer. They're in Heidelberg, Germany, with the national team. So great to have active D3 players, some of our own from the 7500 Club, out there representing our country.
Yeah, and shout out to Helen Eifert, former D3 player. We won't leave her out, although she has moved on to the D1 competition. But it's Oberlin who's going to claim the crown here. And just how surprising is this result for you, Sam?
Honestly, I had Bates penciled in to my bracket. This was the team I was expecting to win. I wasn't expecting I would say, deflated and not as on point as typical Gillette coming out there. She still worked incredibly hard, so did Warder, Johnson. Their entire team worked hard, but they were not clicking and they were not playing the way Bates plays Ultimate that we've seen all season long.
Yeah, I think that someone who stood out for me on this Bates team was Anna Helms. I think she had a very strong game, consistent presence for them. But really they just weren't able to quite keep up with this Oberlin team, particularly when they were on defense. Oberlin's offensive movement was just too disciplined, too effective.
Very high tempo as well, and I don't think Bates had the legs that they were expecting. Oberlin seemed to really feed on the energy and the games past. I think Bates maybe was a little bit out of gas in the tank there for this match.
Yeah, Bates unable to get a break in this game.
Wow, that's not something I think that has been true pretty much all season.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Bates at various points throughout the year, and they have been a dominant team, and I think they have a lot to be proud of from their 2019 run.
Not the ending they wanted, but still, so much to be proud of and look forward to. There's always next year.
So we're going to cut to Mike Ball here with Coach Libby Lehman from the victorious national champions, Oberlin.
Thanks, Keith. Libby, congratulations, first of all, winning a national championship in your first year as a coach. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
Honestly, just so proud of my team. I tell everyone this, but they make my job really, really easy. They, from the top of the roster, throughout the whole group, I mean, we can rely on everyone to play their role when we need them to do that. And honestly, I trust that they can do that, and they, have delivered that all season.
You all did an excellent job of taking away Bates' deep game, particularly from Josie. What was your game plan, or what strategy did you have in place to try and take that away?
I think a lot of it was how we were marking her. We really tried to shade a little bit straight up and stay active on that sort of lateral plane to just kind of at least have her think about the throw a little bit more. We also, did a little bit of bracket defense to kind of clog the space directly in front of her. But I think with those two things, it was really the whole team able to cover the whole field.
Yeah. Senior Abby Chang had 7 goals in that game. She was incredible. She was all over the place. Talk about what she means to this team and her performance this weekend.
I think so much of Abby, I think she leads by example on the field, but at the same time, she has invested so much in the personal growth of every single person on the team. And I think the captain group as a whole have really invested in making each individual know that they want to be here, and also that they have all of the abilities to be here and perform at this level. And so I think the leadership that she shows through just how much she cares about her teammates is really the driving force behind a lot of the success. And I think by doing that, others on the team are able to do the same. They see that, and they see the success that she has, and how that feels to them, and then it becomes a very mutual thing and really pulls the whole team together.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the win. I don't want to keep you from the celebration. Go get your gold medal. Congratulations, Coach. All right, Keith, Sam, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. And that's going to wrap up the D3 college season, Sam.
2019 is in the books. The 7500 Club has new victors in each division.
What a ride. What a ride. I can't wait to hear you and Mike break it all down on your next episode of the 7500 Club. Maybe we have to get like a quick live spot tonight back at the house after everybody showers and cools down.
I don't think that we're going to be able to sleep tonight. Honestly, this has been an incredible weekend. Thanks to all the subscribers who help support Ultiworld efforts like this live stream. This has been so much fun, Keith. As always, I can't wait for 2020 next year.
Oberlin Praying Manti, your national champions in the D3 women's division with a 13-7 win over Bates. For all of our crew here in College Station, I'm Keith Rayner. Been joined by Sam Echeverria and Mike Ball on the sidelines. Thank you for joining us. If you're enjoying our coverage, consider checking out our subscription packages and supporting the work that we do. We need your help to continue to do this. We really could not do it without you. Ultiworld.com/subscribe. Also, thank you to USA Ultimate, who helped us present this weekend, and we'll be doing so again for the D1 championships in a couple of days. And they've been fantastic in helping everyone stay safe and comfortable as much as possible here in Texas. Thank you for joining us. Signing off. We will see you in a couple of days for the D1 championships.